and thank you for joining me for another episode of Love Your Work. I'm Whitney Wiley, and this is our opportunity to have conversations with guests who talk about the work they love and how they got to those careers. In addition, some of the lessons that they've learned along the way. And today I have with me Raj Subrameyer, and he is a career tech strategist. And we're going to talk about how he came to this field and some of the things that you might implement if you are looking for a career in tech or just a career in general. So, Raj, how are you today?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me. So excited to be here.
I am excited to have you. You know, when we talked last week or a couple of weeks ago, we hit it off, and you reminded me, and I let go of this every now and then of how I could have ended up in a STEM career or a STEAM career, and how my inability to pass ring theory put an put an end
Hey,
to that.
it's never too late to make a change. You can always do it. And I'm pretty sure, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, I have a hunch that you are going to finish that course and get that degree finally. So I
One
have
of
a
these
hunch.
one of these days, I'm looking for just the right tutor that will help me with that because it's been so long at this point. I whatever I thought I knew then, I definitely don't know now. So, but we're not here to talk about my shortcomings in ring theory. We're here to talk about you. So tell us what a tech career strategist is and what exactly it is that you do.
Yeah. So I help people specifically in the tech industry to find their dream job and become successful leaders in the industry. And I've been in the tech space for over 15 years. I've gone through so many different job positions. I started as a software programmer and then became a software tester. There's a person who codes, who writes code to make sure the software works properly. And then became a lead, became a manager, then got into a fancy title called developer evangelist. It sounds super cool, but it's a person who talks for the company at various conferences and do R&D. So I was in that role, and then finally, for the past 3-4 years, I've been running my own business where I help mid to senior level folks in the tech space to have successful personal life and career transformations. That is the main persona of people I help. And another small percentage of people I help are people who want to jump into the tech space from a non-tech background. And so those are the two kinds of people I help. And I say tech career strategist. I don't For some reason I first branded myself as a coach. And for me personally, I don't like the word coach because it means that I'm an expert and I know things better than you. I think strategists appeal to me more because I provide strategies for folks to actually change their career to get into a new career. So I strategize the whole thing. I'm big on strategy. So that's why I rebranded myself as a tech career strategist. So that's what I do in a nutshell. And that's my main part of my job, but I also do speaking and writing for a lot of companies. So
Okay, and we'll talk about. I know you have a book, and we'll get to that before we're done. So you said you have had lots of different careers in this area. Before we go back to memory lane, over the course of the last 4 years, when you made the move to having your own business, what was the impetus that made you say, "Okay, I'm done doing this, whatever that last job was, and now I want to move in this direction"? What made you make that change?
that's a great question. So let me set some context, right? And people can understand, and your listeners and watchers can understand why I do what I do. So I always grew up as an underdog. Like no one believed in me. That was partly because of my childhood upbringing, because my dad was super smart. Like since he was born, he studied in scholarships. Then you had my brother. He's a super genius. He has 3 masters and a PhD. And then there was the average Raj who didn't do well in anything, academics, dating, sports, you name it. So throughout my childhood, I always grew up as an underdog. So people never thought anything big about me. They always ignored me. And that kind of followed me throughout my childhood. And during my second year of my undergrad, I had this awakening. I realized that all this while, I've been living a life in false identity. I was letting other people's opinions be my reality. And that's when I realized, man, in the process of making others take me seriously, I ended up disappointing myself because I could never live up to people's expectations. So when I started my career in IT, I made a vow to myself saying, you know what? I'm gonna help people, especially people who were like me, going through a lot of negative energy, going through a lot of limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
through a lot of self doubt. And those are the kind of people I wanted to help. So that mentality kind of stuck with me since I started my career in 15 years back. And since 2012, once I got into more senior level and leadership positions, I had this knack for identifying people who are struggling and then sharing my thoughts on how they could make a change. And a common pattern I saw in all these people were they had all the skill sets, they had everything they needed to have to get to the next level in their careers, but they had this limiting beliefs. They had this mindset that, society has told me that I am dumb, or society told me that I cannot be
Mhm.
a leader. So
Mhm.
this who I am. I'm gonna take other people's labels, and that's what I'm gonna associate myself with, right? But identifying those people and giving them advice, and I could see this transformation happening. And time and again, folks who I helped just voluntarily, they said, man, you have a knack for motivating people, for helping people. You should think about doing something like this because you just energize people. So that kind of continued till 2015, 16ish. And then I decided, you know what, am I really happy earning a really high salary? I was paid really high, and doing something else rather than helping people. Yeah, is that what I really want to do, or do I need to do something more meaningful? And
Right.
that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to start my own business. I first started a hybrid approach where I was holding my full-time job and part-time I was helping people. And then 3 years ago, I took the leap, and now I helped over 45 people, 45 clients. And yeah, it's been so rewarding because every morning when I wake up, I feel joy
Yeah.
when people's lives get impacted. For example, just last week on Friday, one of my clients who I was coaching for interviews to succeed in interviews, he got a job from Deloitte and Amazon. And
Wow.
a month and a half ago, he reached out to me saying, dude, I saw all your content on LinkedIn. I've read your blog posts. You're so inspirational. But this is the thing, I don't think I have the skill sets and the right frame of mind to ace interviews. I've applied
Mhm.
for over 200 jobs, but I don't think I can do it. Then, to cut a long story short, I told him, okay, this is the thing. I can prove to you that you're going to at least get interview calls and at least get one job. And I don't know how we're going to do it, but I can see the potential in you. It starts with your mindset shift. Only when you shift your mindset, then I can help you. And
Yeah.
now he got a job from Amazon. And that's how it is. When people shift their mindset from a place of scarcity to abundance, that's when things happen. But yeah, to sum it up, that's why I do what I do, because I had this knack for helping people since 2012. And then now I do it full time pretty much.
And that's such a good nugget in there is that often we are doing something and we may be enjoying it. It may be okay. We're paid well, but it's not fulfilling. And the very thing that we are sort of just doing because it feels natural and it's helping people. ends up being the calling, so to speak, right? And my journey is very similar to yours. Even the timing is similar to yours. And I was helping people. People were always coming to me asking for advice about
Hmm.
their careers and moving up. And at some point, I was like, you know what? Why not? If this is what people are seeking from me and I enjoy doing it, then it's something worth pursuing. And so, that's the point of this, that love your work, is to help people recognize that there's something that's calling them, right? That the very thing we're looking for is looking for us, and we just have to be open to the possibilities and the opportunities that come along with that. So, kudos to you and congratulations to that client. I'm sure that happens for most, if not all, of your clients, being able to, see a different way and to start seeing themselves differently so that they can step into their greatness.
Yeah.
So
And I
he
think
took the Amazon job and not the Deloitte job.
he took the Amazon job because it was really high pay compared to the Deloitte job. And he also had another final rounds of interview, but now he canceled everything because Amazon was his dream company.
Okay.
And you won't even believe this. He was about to cancel the final rounds of interviews because he was so nervous and he thought
Oh
he doesn't have the
wow.
skill set. And then I had to take my phone and talk him out of it, saying, "Dude, you need to trust me on this. You have what it takes." Because this is a thing, and it is a good learning experience even for people who are watching or listening. Because a lot of people think, okay, you don't have the skill set or the capacity to do
Right.
something, even without trying it out. And you need to try things at least once to decide whether it's your cup of tea or not. You need
Right.
to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and that's when real change happens. Because as human beings, based on our childhood experience, we have taught to be in a safe space. We are
Yes.
taught to be in our comfort zone. And if anything pushes you out of your comfort zone, then you immediately, get anxious, you get stressed. And then you have two choices. One is do something about it and push yourself out of your comfort zone and
Right.
see what comes out of it. Or you can go back to your own shell and then live a sad. I'm not saying everyone who are in their ordinary life have sad, depressing lives, but what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of people I know who do not want to make a change because they're afraid, because they have the fear of the
Right. Right.
unknowns. And
Right.
I think life is too short. Like me and you are talking right now, tomorrow something can happen, something can change. And I think every day given to you is a gift. And when you have the capacity and the ability and the opportunities in front of you, why not try it out? And you don't have to go in blindly. That's where people like me and you come into the picture, where we give you strategies on how we can take risks, give you strategies on how you could still be in a comfort zone but still take calculated risk and calculated uh, strategies to push you out of your comfort zone, right? So that is
Right.
something everyone should keep in mind, because if you just wait for opportunities to come to you, I have news for you, because that's never going to happen, right? Simple example is, so from my thick Texas accent, you already know I was not born in the United States, right? So I came to the US in
Did you say
2008.
the Texas accent?
Yeah, Texas accent. Yeah, thick Texas. Howdy, partner, right? So, but the point is, so I came to the US as an immigrant in 2008. And I still remember this vividly because it was August 31st, 2008. And on September 7th, 2008, Lehman Brothers, and for those young people watching, they were one of the biggest financial firms in the world in the US, and they became bankrupt overnight. And that kind of triggered the whole recession. That was the tipping point. And getting jobs during that time was really hard, just like how we were in last year, where
Right.
getting jobs were really, really hard. And I came to the US to do my master's in software engineering, and half of them were international students, and they decided to go back from where they came from. So I was pretty much left with two choices. One, to go back, just like half of the students in my master's program, or the second option was to do whatever it takes to see what comes out of it. And luckily, I chose the second option, and that decision which I made then changed my life, right? But it came through a lot of hard work as well, because from the beginning of 2009 till the end of 2009, I applied for 1,293 jobs.
Wow.
1,293 jobs. And guess how many callbacks I got from it?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't even begin to imagine wanting or needing a job that bad. I'm sorry. I just
I got
and that's sad on my part, but it's definitely shows your determination and stick to itiveness. So tell me how many zeros of job interviews you got.
I got 4 callbacks from
Wow.
1,293 jobs.
Wow.
And then I converted one job out of it, and that it was not a full-time job, but it was an internship. But then I had to work my ass off for 6 months to prove to people that I could really do the job
Yeah.
well. And then I converted that into a full-time job, right? And the reason I'm telling the story is when I meet people these days, they get dejected or disappointed after applying for like 5 jobs,
Right. Right.
right? And
Right.
I said, dude, I'm not saying you need to apply for 1,293 jobs, because frankly speaking, for the first 500 jobs, I had no clue what I was doing, right?
And
And that's
that
when,
was going to be my question.
yeah,
What did you learn about that process of, how obviously you needed to apply for all 1,200 plus jobs, right? Because there's a lesson in that that I'm sure you are using, not just the mindset about determination and persistence, but something else about the way you were applying for jobs or the mindset you were in when you were applying for jobs, right? Whether it was from a position of lack, a position of lack of confidence, right? And so the energy that you have as you were putting out those resumes and your applications, I think travels with the document,
100%.
right? Um,
Yeah.
and so it becomes not just the persistence piece, but the mindset piece on the front end of that.
I'm so glad you brought it up, because I think, yeah, there were a lot of lessons which I learned. And in fact, I use those experiences even now to help people. So let's talk about the 1,293 jobs. Let's
Oh my
dissect it a
God,
little
every
bit.
time you say that number.
Let's dissect that a little bit. And there's a lot of key golden nuggets which I'm going to share right now, which will help
Awesome.
other job seekers as well. So the problem with the majority of the people who are applying for jobs is they're doing it blindly, because
Yes.
they're coming from a place of anxiousness, scarcity, fear, and what they do is they just blindly apply for jobs without getting a strategic view
Yes.
of how to do that. So when I was applying for jobs, for the first 500 jobs, I was like the folks which I just mentioned, where I was just blindly applying for jobs because I really needed a job, because I had to, if I didn't get a job within a certain time period, I had to go back to India.
Okay.
So I was panicking and applied for 500 jobs, and then I didn't get any callbacks. And I said, what the hell? Out of 500 jobs, how come at least not even one person is calling me? And then I started analyzing, okay, what am I doing wrong here, or what should I do differently? Then I started realizing that couple of things. One was I was using the same resume no matter what type of job it was. It could be a software developer, it could be a salesperson. Of course, I'm a tech person, so I was applying only for tech jobs, but I'm just giving your
Right.
viewers some examples here. Say you have a sales job, then you have a nursing job, you have a tech job. I was literally using the same resume to apply for all 3 jobs. That's pointless. And that was the number one mistake. The second mistake was 100 jobs into my job application. I had no clue where I applied for jobs, what jobs I applied for. And all
Right.
of a sudden, if I get a call, they would say, "Hey, we're calling from Bank of America to talk about the job." Dude, what job are you talking about?
Right.
Please
Right.
mention the job name so that I can talk to it, but they won't. And then you assume what job they're talking about, and then you talk about a totally different job, and then you just blew up your chances in the first round. So that was the second problem. And these are all common problems which people face even now.
Yeah.
The third problem was I thought just using ZipRecruiter or Simply Hired and just posting your resume there and then submitting your resume, that's pretty much it. And then you just
Mm,
expect someone to call you. That was the third mistake. These were the three glaring mistakes which I did. So how did I rectify them in the next set of jobs? Was first one, I created an Excel sheet and people can download that from my website as well. In that Excel sheet, I started tracking my jobs. So the Excel sheet will contain different columns. The first column would be the job link. The second column would be uh, the job title. The third column would be the job description. The fourth column would be the point person, the hiring manager name and email address. The fifth column would be follow up, because this is the thing, no one follows up after they
right.
apply for jobs, and that is a mistake. That's what is going to set you apart from other people, because once you apply for a job, after 7 days, make sure you follow up regarding the job, saying, "Hey, I applied for this job. I was just wondering, you know, how my skill sets could add value to your company. I would love to get on a call with you just to understand the job better." Something like that, something personalized message in your follow-up email. Not a lot of people do that. And just by doing that, your hiring manager or the recruiter is going to notice you. So
Right.
strategizing your job application process, that was number one. Number two, subscribe for job alerts. I was so stupid because I kept manually going into all these job websites and kept applying for jobs. But what you could do is you could proactively make the jobs come to you. So what that means is you could subscribe, say for example, you use ZipRecruiter. There you can search for, say, software developer,
Hmm.
and you can create a job alert. And then what will happen is you can select the frequency into daily or weekly. And daily, you'll get the any job openings to your inbox directly instead of you going and searching for stuff. So I did job alerts on ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Simply Hired, Glassdoor, and all those jobs came to my email. So every morning, I just used to open my email, and then I already get all the job openings instead of me
Right.
manually going to different websites. That is number two. Number three is, this is the most important thing, and even people who are watching can do it right now as I speak. I did what is called a mind dump exercise. So how does that work? So I just take a paper and pen and then put a vertical line in the middle of the paper. On the left side of the paper, write down all the things you love to do in terms of your career. Like, what are the different things you love to do? And on the right side of the column, write down all the things you hate to do. So, for example, you may write, "I love technical stuff. I love creative stuff. I hate being micromanaged. I hate
Yeah.
processes. I love communicating, but I like siloed environments." Then maybe being a software developer at a startup company, which usually does not have process, may be the right fit for you. Or you could say that I hate technical stuff, but I love communication. I love collaboration. I love thinking about the bigger picture. So if you noted down things like that, then maybe being a project manager, being a product manager may be the right fit for you, or a business analyst could be the right fit for you. So you
Right.
strategically, based on your strengths, identify 4 or 5 jobs which apply to your strengths. And then what you're going to do is have different resumes based on those jobs. Don't The number one mistake people do is using the same resume. Don't do
Right.
that. Have a customized resume for all that 5 jobs which you have identified based on this mind dump exercise. And then strategically start applying for jobs. In that Excel sheet, you can have one sheet for business analyst jobs, one sheet for product manager jobs, one sheet for, I don't know, whatever job, salesperson job, and start strategically focusing on that, right? So those were the things I learned from this experience. And till this day, I ask my clients to do all those things which I just mentioned. And these are all not rocket science, but no
Right,
one
right.
teaches you those things. You learn from experience, right? And one more thing I just wanted to mention, since we were in the topic of strategically applying for jobs, is the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the most underrated and high capacity or high impact social media channels for professionals, and a lot of people do not realize it. Because this is the thing, I'm going to tell you some secrets which a lot of people do not realize, and I've taken 4 LinkedIn courses from the top influencers, so I really know what I'm talking about. So here are some things you need to know. All the information you put on your LinkedIn profile, on your LinkedIn bio profile page, is all indexed by Google, and it's rich SEO information. So what do I mean by that? Say, for example, you're applying for a software developer job, okay? You need to use keywords like programming, collaborating, creativity, and then some technical terms like Scrum, Agile, then some programming languages names. And you strategically have to use those keywords on your profile, in your About section page, in your Experience section page. This is the thing, because when recruiters scan for candidates, what they do is they add these keywords in their recruiting software, and the software starts scanning through different social media profiles, and LinkedIn is part of that. And when you use these keywords, you are going to be selected in the search, and you are going to be visible in the search. But if you don't use those keywords, you'll never be able to be indexed by these softwares. And when I said say indexed by Google, what do I mean by that is, when you go to Google search and say software developer, people applying for software developer jobs or something like that, you will show up in the first 10 results when you have an updated LinkedIn profile with using the right keywords. So that is something I learned as well. In fact, my last 4 jobs was from LinkedIn, and it's been 9 years since I actually applied to a job with a resume. And that is the power of LinkedIn. And of course, if you want, we could go deeper into LinkedIn if you want LinkedIn strategies. But overall, I've shared like 4 strategies which people can implement right now, which is the Excel sheet, the mind dump exercise, the job alerts, and then LinkedIn. Make sure you have an updated profile with the keywords for the job you're looking for.
And such great advice and information. I was on Clubhouse yesterday. I was just out walking, and the Clubhouse room, coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, was about LinkedIn and using LinkedIn specifically for tech jobs, which was sort of why I stopped into that room. I'm not looking for a tech job, but yeah, I knew you were coming on today. And so just, coincidentally, there it was. So the 4 pieces of advice you've given, priceless. So if you are listening, watching, absolutely use those techniques, those strategies. And while Raj is here talking about tech careers, you can actually use those for it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be looking
Right.
for a tech career. And this concept, the last one in particular with the LinkedIn, and recognizing that LinkedIn is a Google searchable, right? One
Yep.
of the things that was mentioned yesterday that a lot of people, and it wasn't something that I thought about, is make sure your privacy settings are in the right place so that you can't actually be found in a Google search, right? And I know
That's a great
we're
point.
all
Yeah.
concerned with privacy issues, but if you are in the market for a job or just open to other possibilities and opportunities, you've got to make yourself seeable. And findable in order to do that. And there's nothing like having people look for you rather than you out looking and begging people for something, right?
Exactly. And since we were on the topic of LinkedIn, here are some more golden nuggets which people can use, and these things actually work, right? So two things. These are all quick things people can do. One is, say for example, you want a job at Google. Okay. The first thing you want to do is tap into your own network.
Yes.
So when you go to your connections on LinkedIn, you can see who and now who's actually working at Google, and then send them a message saying, "Hey, I realized you are working in Google. I was planning to apply for a software developer job. Can you give me some information about it? How does software development work at Google? How does the culture work, right? So you can start connecting with people within your own network, and not a lot of people do that. That is number one. The second thing you could do is, say you don't have anyone in your network from Google. What are you going to do is, in LinkedIn you have the search bar. Just type in Google and click enter. There you're going to get the Google page, and there you'll have different tabs: company, etc., etc. Then there's a tab called people. Click on people. Then you'll get everyone who's working at Google. There, start filtering through software developers at Google. And then look at a developer who you could relate to. Find some commonality. So for example, uh, I'm huge into sports and I'm a Cleveland guy, but I've been transplanted into Chicago. So I'm an Ohio State football fan, right? And if you see on Google, if someone graduated from Ohio State, that's a common connection.
Yeah.
So what I would do is send a personalized message saying, "Hey, go Buckeyes." So Buckeyes is the football team name, Ohio State Buckeyes. So I'll say go Buckeyes because immediately it grabs attention. And then you would say, "I see that you graduated from Ohio State, and then I've been to Ohio State, and I'm a Cleveland guy. My areas of interest is also AI and data science. I was wondering if I could get on a 15-minute call, not 30-minute, not 60-minute call, 15-minute call." Why is that important? Because the human tendency is, if it's a 15-minute call, people are more easily okay with getting on a call
Right.
with you rather than 30 minutes or 60 minutes. But this is the key, though. If you do your research based on that person's profile and ask great questions during your call, that 15-minute call can extend to a 30-minute to 60-minute to 2 hours. And doing this, you can also come to know about job openings which are not even been publicized yet,
Yes.
right? So that strategy is called the cold messaging strategy. So tapping into your own network and then cold messaging, personalized cold messaging. Those two strategies could work on LinkedIn as well. And trust me, those are some things which people do not do because they just submit resumes and then pray for the universe to get them a job. But you can go one step further and connect with people, and that's what LinkedIn is all about. And of course, I talk about all of these things and more strategies in my book, but I wanted to give your listeners and viewers some golden nuggets right now which they can implement after listening to our interview.
You have shared absolute gold. So why don't we talk a little bit about your book? Tell us what it is and how they can get a copy.
So this is the thing. Currently, people, they feel stuck in their career. They feel anxious about their job security, and there have been a lot of layoffs in the past year, right? And
Yes.
people have been at the receiving end of it. And finally, there are people who want to advance in their careers, but they have this fear of the unknowns. And I was in the exact same situation in 2008, as I was explaining. And over the past 15 years since then, I've learned so many different strategies that have transformed my life from a shy, introverted kid earning a minimum salary into running a six-figure business, becoming an international keynote speaker, author, and tech career strategist. And if an average guy like me can transform his life, so can you. And that's what the book is all about. The book is going to give you all the strategies you need from start to finish of a job life cycle. That's what I call it. So what do I mean by that? From the time you start applying for jobs till the time where you get the job, and then you want to get noticed in the job, and then get promotions in your job, and then become a leader. I cover different aspects of your life in your career and how to strategically approach it, right? And that's what the book is about. So who should get the book? If you are going through low self-esteem, high self-doubt, and feel stuck in your career, or if you feel that you're doing everything you can but no one is noticing you, or if you feel that you're at the forking point of your career and you're looking for guidance, or if you want to get into leadership roles but do not know how to go about doing that, then you definitely have to check out my book, because my book is only 99 pages. The book title is Skyrocket Your Career, the no bullshit approach to find your dream job, be successful in it, and transform into a rock star. So I hate 400-page books, and people have only limited time. So it's 99 pages of strategies, templates, worksheets to help you have positive, not only career transformation, but even personal life transformation.
Mm.
So I share my personal stories and strategies and weave them together so that common people can know, okay, I relate to this experience, okay, let me see what strategies to use to change that, right? So that's what the book is about. And I was so grateful for people like you and my entrepreneur friends and my network, because they've been spreading the message of my book. It hit rank 5 on the Amazon bestseller list twice in the jobs and careers category, and a lot of people have been positively impacted by it. So if you go to skyrocketyourcareerbook.com, skyrocketyourcareerbook.com, there you can download the first chapter for free so that you can decide whether you want to get the book. But apart from that, the most important thing I wanted to mention was, remember I was telling you about the job Excel sheet, the
Yeah.
mind dump. I have downloadable templates for free. You can just download it and use it right now. So that's how you can get the book.
Such great, awesome information. Again, absolute career gold. If you are looking for a book that will help you in transitioning in your career, check out Raj's book, Skyrocket Your Career. If you are interested in chatting with him, if you are in the tech space and interested in moving into leadership or making a transition into a tech career, you should absolutely reach out to Raj. Raj is his niche sort of takes over where mine leaves off. And so I'm about helping you envision what it is you want to do. And once you figure that out, then you need a strategy to actually make that happen. And he would be a perfect partner for you in doing that. So if you want to reach out to him, the information is in the post, and we'll put some other contact information and ways that you can connect with and find Raj in the comments. Raj, do you have what I'd like for you to share is like one overall life lesson that you've had that has helped you to land where you are right now?
So talking about life lesson, I would say definitely one thing would be, don't wear other people's identity, because a
Mm,
society is going to tell you this is what is good for you. No, you're dumb. Oh no, you're not good enough. Oh, you're great in this. No, this is the path you need to take. So people give you so many different labels, and as humans we decide on what labels we want to associate ourselves with.
yes.
We could attach ourselves with labels saying I'm not good enough, or you can attach with yourself with the label saying, you know what, I matter and I am good enough. So I lived my life in false identity for the first 20 years, right? I wasted a lot of time. But once I came to this realization that I shouldn't wear other people's identity, and I have the choice, we have the choice on what labels we want to attach ourselves with, right? That's when the transformation happened. So that was what the biggest life lesson I've learned through my experience. That's why even if someone says you suck, I would say, okay, let's talk about it. Before, if someone says you suck, I would say, oh man, I don't know why people are saying,
Right.
I used to do self-pity, petty self-loathing. But right now, I'm in that mindset saying, I know why I'm here, because
Right.
everyone has a gift in this world. Everyone has a skill set. It's our responsibility to figure out what that is. And through that journey, you are going to get negativity. You are going to get obstacles. But every time a curveball hits you, you can be on the floor, but then you can get up and continue marching, right? So those are some things you want to keep in mind. So just to summarize, don't wear other people's identity. So that's what I would say the biggest life lesson.
I love that. And during that whole time you were talking, I got goosebumps because
Oh, thanks.
I absolutely agree with you. I wrote a column a few years ago. It's called "What's Your Label?" about just that, identities, and um, ultimately we get to choose our identities. And so let go of what the world says, let go of the world's expectations, your boss, your mom's, your whomever. Decide who you want to be, decide
Right.
what you want to do. And if you don't know how to get there, success leaves clues. Reach out to someone who can help you. Strategist, Raj, tech career strategist, could be your partner in that journey. So, Raj, thank you so much for joining me and sharing all your wisdom. Well, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it. And if people want to avail themselves of more of your wisdom, they can reach out to you. So, thank you.
Thanks for having me. And before we leave, I just wanted to quickly acknowledge you for the impact you are making in the community. It's
Oh,
because
thank
people
you.
like you, people like me can share our stories and inspire other people. So keep continuing to do what you're doing. Whether you know it or not, I think you are impacting people on a large scale. So I want to acknowledge you for that. And thanks for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, we're going to change the world. We're going to keep changing the world because we're already doing it. So thank you again. And reach out to Raj. I'm serious, serious, serious. Look for his book. The link is in the post. Again, it's skyrocketyourcareerbook.com, but it's in the post. And his web address is Raj Subra, right?
Yep.
.com.
RajSutra.com. Yep.
Okay. And so, Raj, thank you again. And everyone else, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.